Hello, my name's Daryl Powis and welcome to this week's fretboard lesson. Today we're going to take a look at our minor scales and what I think are some really healthy levels for minor scales. It's a little bit different to probably what you've learned in the past, and in some ways it might start easier than what you've done in the past, but by the end of it, it gets quite difficult and quite a challenge, and you'll see why. When people learn minor scales, what they tend to do is learn box patterns like this on the guitar. Which is fine, it's a cool little pattern, and that is the minor scale. But a problem with it is that often they don't know how to turn that into something which sounds musical, and it doesn't inform your fretboard knowledge very well. So it's not a transferable skill when it comes to playing all over the rest of the fretboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at how we can take the fretboard, dissect it a bit, and learn the minor scales in a way which actually helps us with all sorts of other things, especially with soloing and being able to slice up that fretboard in a bit more of a healthy way. So let's jump in. So the first thing that I think is really important is knowing all of your scales, particularly the minor scale, on a single string, because when you see scales on a single string, that is in its true form. That is the exact kind of pattern and shape of how it really looks on the guitar, and everything we do crossing strings is relating back to this single string scale. So let's look at this on a single string. This is in A minor, so I'm going to do it on the A string. We do play A, B, C, but that's not really what's important here. It's knowing that that's root, or the first, 2, and then the minor third, and what that looks like. 4, 5, 6, 7, root. And so the first level that I consider for learning scales is to be able to do that pattern really comfortably all around the guitar. So wherever I find an A note, I should be able to play the A minor pentatonic, both forwards and backwards. So if I find an A note somewhere else on the guitar, I should be able to move both directions. Anywhere there's an A note, that is true. And the great thing about it is it helps you to recognize where those notes are on the neck too, which is really important. And the other thing is, it's really important that you move that scale around to all the different minor keys, whether it's D minor, G minor, E flat minor. You should be able to find a root note and play a minor scale off it. It's really important. It's going to help with your fretboard knowledge, and I can't express anything more important than knowing your notes on the neck as the single most important piece of fretboard knowledge you will ever have. All right, let's move on to level number 2. So level number 2 is being able to play that minor scale instead of over one string, now over 2 strings, and see what that looks like. So you're going to see how those patterns relate. So before we were playing up one whole string, now we're going to play 4 notes on each string. So I've shifted up there, and then I've done 4 notes on the next string, and I end up on an A note. Everywhere there's an A note, I should be able to do it forwards and backwards. So if I go to the A note on fret 17 of string 1, I can go 1, 7, 6, 5, and then cross strings. See that 4 is there. 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's level 2. Being able to cross strings, still using those root notes, forwards and backwards. You should be able to kind of improvise and play around with these too. You don't have to wait to master all the levels of scales to be able to improvise. You should be doing that too. But this is purely if we're practicing scales. Level 3. So level 3 is where most people, if you see this shape, you'll think, oh, that's where I started. I already know level 3. But what I want you to do is to go back to it, this I'm going to show you now, with the idea of note function in mind, once you've done level 1 and 2. So level 3 is all about crossing the 6 strings. And there's a couple of ways that you might have crossed 6 strings. There's the closed position or cage position. Or there's the open position, or 3 notes per string. I really don't care which one it is. What I do care is that you see the note function as you're playing, or you think about that note function in the same way that you should be when we're working on a single string. If you want some exercises for practicing note function while you're improvising or while you're working on scales, leave me a comment below and I will make you another video. It's just a little bit beyond the scope of this video to jump into it, but I'm happy to do a whole another recording for it. Okay, so when we're practicing those scales across the 6 strings, what we want to do is just be aware of where our root notes are and be aware of where those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 roots are in the same way we were for 1 and 2, okay? Level 4 is being able to do the 6 string patterns across the whole fretboard. So here's an example in the open position, 3 notes per string of those 7 positions, but it's really being able to take the minor scale and do it across the whole fretboard. So here they are across all 6 strings. Here's position 1. Position 3. Position 4. Position 5. Position 6. And I'll go all the way down here. Position 7. Alright, cool. So if you're eagle-eyed, and especially if you've done the major positions before, you'll notice that these are exactly the same as the major positions. They just have different numbers for the shapes because everything revolves around. But they're exactly the same shapes you learn. So when you're practicing your major scales or minor scales, if you're crossing all the 6 strings, you're practicing the same muscle memory as you go. However, the note function has changed. The note function has changed, so they're in different places. So that's why they need practicing again, even if you know your major scales. All right, now let's look at our final one, which is level 5. So level 5 is a goal level of being able to find a root note anywhere on the guitar and play your minor scale off it. Let's use a couple of examples. So a first example is if I can find my A note here, which is string 3, fret 14, and play it, I should be able to come off this and see note function in any which direction to be able to play my scale without having to think about a whole cross 6 string pattern. I should be able to go, okay, I've got my root here, so 2 frets down is my 7, 2 frets down is my 6. On the string below, I've got my 5, 2 frets down is my 4, 2 frets down is my 3, 2 on the string below, and then I've got an A down here. Let's do one more example. So what if I had my first finger over here on string 1, fret 5? I should be able to see that here on the string below, I know now from practicing all the different pieces of note function that this is a 7 here. My 6 is 2 frets below that. 5 is 1 fret below that. To the string below, my 4 is here. 3, 2, and 1. Alright, cool. So these are some goal levels. There's obviously lots of work and exercises to do between them, but they're really good places to start with. And for most of you watching this video, I imagine it's going to mean stepping back a level from where you're at the moment and practicing that note function, because I always think if you can get your brain to know a little bit more about what's going on the fretboard, that should free your ear to do more of the fun stuff, the more creative stuff in music, which is what it's there for. Okay, so have fun with this, enjoy yourself, and let me know how you get on. If you enjoy these videos, hit subscribe, and I would love you to join in with more videos that we're going to make in the future. Thanks very much.